Hi friends! So this is an add-on or a follow-up to the previous video about subjective and objective reality. There are a few points I wanted to add to that video. I wanted to clarify that just because you have a subjective experience that nobody else has, as long as it's grounded in objective reality, in terms of abiding by the laws, the fundamental laws of the universe, which are described in the Kybalion, not the Kabbalah, the Kybalion. Now, that doesn't mean that it is not true. If you have a subjective experience that nobody else has, or that nobody that you know of has had, it can be true. So I just wanted to make that clear. Now, you have to be aware of the distinction between an experience that you have that nobody else has, that is still grounded in the laws of the universe, and also an experience that you have that no one else has, that is taking it doesn't make it wrong or like not true, but it takes you off into the land of delusion or psychosis or schizophrenia, or you're essentially not present here in the physical world any longer. Your mind is in your imagination creating things that aren't there. That's a completely different thing. It doesn't, you're still in your mind, you're still creating things that aren't there, but it doesn't make it true. It's true for you, not for an objective truth. It gets really complicated when you get down to it. So anyway, just wanted to make that clear. So I think most people would agree that we don't want to go off into the land of delusion or psychosis where we're not in objective reality. You don't want to be living off in, like, completely in your illusion of your own mind that isn't being present in reality, where you can't even function in this world anymore because you are all up in your head. And like I said, I've seen it happen to people where they just split from reality. They're totally in a land of delusion. For them, it seems real, but it is because their mind is playing tricks on them. And they haven't gotten a grasp of their thoughts. They haven't taken control of their thoughts and their mind, and they let their mind run away with these thoughts. And they have fallen into that completely. I think we can all agree we don't want to go there. We don't want to be in a land of total, complete delusion and falsity. So that's where I'm drawing the line, so to speak. Like, you can have a total separate reality all up in your head if you want to, but I don't think you want to. It just makes life harder for yourself. Anyway, also wanted to mention that the parallel realities, part of the other layers are the other worlds that exist that are described in the Kabbalah Tree of Life. And those are dimensions. Basically, parallel realities are just dimensions, and dimensions are in the mind. And same sort of thing applies in the sense that it's in our mind, it's in your mind, it's in the mind of the demiurge. It is a collective, co-created reality with these other worlds, but they are dimensional worlds. So it's very difficult to explain, so I hope I was pretty clear about that, as clear as I can be. And also wanted to make clear, like I said in the video, the perception filters doesn't make them good or bad. That's just what is. That we change our perception filters, we change our perception. And we've sort of been raised to think that our perceptions are fixed and that perception makes up who we are. But you are able to change your perception filters. You're able to decide what those are going to be. And when you change how you see the world seems to change. So if you are somebody, for example, who lives in the matrix and thinks everything's honky-dory, but maybe a few things aren't right, but then your perception changes because you discover the truth that everything is a lie, you start to see things differently. It looks completely different. But all that's changed is your perception. It's always been there. So that's my point, is that it's always been there, and the matrix lie is an illusion that they have created because they told you a story about how things operate here and what the world really is, and we believed this lie and made it real, but it's all fabricated and precedented on a lie. So that is the illusion. Now, once you realize that it's an illusion, you see the world completely different, and the only thing that's changed is your perception. That's it. The world didn't change. How you see it changed. That's the difference. So I just wanted to also say that perception filters aren't bad. It's just the ones that prevent you from seeing things the way they really are not helpful if that is something that is important to you. If it's important to you to live in a world where truth doesn't matter and you'd rather live in a delusion or an illusion and you're fine with all of that, then okay. But if you want truth, then you've got to be mindful of your perception filters, and you can change your perception filters. And you can say that your perception, one of your perception filters is that you're a globe earther, and that's going to prevent you from seeing certain truths. If truth is important to you, then eventually you might want to start looking into flat earth, understanding what the nature of our reality actually is. And the difficulty is that a lot of people don't, the term itself, flat earth, is a trigger. It's an emotional trigger, which is designed on purpose through mind control. They've planted it in society to make us react emotionally to the term flat earth. And so if you look at, say, ancient cosmology or magnetism or electricity and how our world is a dielectric, magnetic, and electric universe, you might understand better, and it might be more pleasing to you. It won't trigger you, and then therefore you might want to look into it. So these are some of the perception filters. Triggers are perception filters. And so if you're willing to clear them in favor of truth, then you might want to do so. And you can even play around with it. You can say, well, what if I decided to view the world as this, and see how things change, and see how perception alters your view of the world. And you can see basically how the mind works just by doing that. And I've played around with it and noticed major changes just by playing around with my perception filters. So, give it a try and see what you come up with. So I wanted to add in this part of the video that perception is not always reality. And so just because you view the world a certain way, not everybody else is going to view the world the same way. And so people, for example, and it also doesn't mean that your perception of the world is true or accurate. So one of the examples that's easy to apply, that's pretty standard, is, say, for you talk to a friend of yours, and she's like, she's had some bad experiences with dating men, and she says that all men are scum, or all men are narcissists, or they're all horrible. Well, they're not all horrible, and I'm sure that if she looked at other men, other than the ones that she's dated that she's labeling as horrible, she could find examples of men who are not horrible. But her description of men and lumping them into one category and projecting that onto all men is erroneous. And so she's created this perception of the world based on an assumption that is incorrect, based on her experience that is true, but it's only true for her, but that's also based on her experience and her perception. Her perception of these men because she has this perception that men are scum, she is going to either attract men who are bad to her, or her perception is going to see things that aren't there, or see his behavior as awful. And or her behavior is going to attract the awful behavior out of him. And that's how law of attraction works, because her frequency dictates to the universe that men are scum. And so that's the experience that she's going to either get or perceive or manifest. So this is, it's a complicated system that our mind is, and yet they know how our mind works, and they know how to employ tactics to manipulate our perception of reality. So if you can change your perception, you can change your reality. You can change how you perceive reality to perceive it as truthful, which is the goal here. The goal isn't to change it to suit you. The goal is to change it to be truthful. So in the example with the woman, you should introduce her to men who are not like that, or she should go talk to women who have good husbands, who have good boyfriends, or have good brothers and fathers, and she can start to change her perception. And then when she changes her perception and she's aware of her perception and how it causes this to happen in her life, she can then start to change the types of men that she attracts into her life. And a lot of you'd be able to identify these perception filters by paying attention to your thoughts, repetitive thoughts, and paying attention to what you say. So in her case, she'll keep saying things like, men are scum, men are awful, men are horrible, I can't find a good man. All of those are her indicators of a negative perception filter that is causing her problems in her love life. And so if you can identify those things, then you can change those things and find the truth instead of blocking yourself from receiving something that you really want. So, one thing that's really important is that the mind plays tricks on us. And people don't want to believe this, but it's true. And the reason the mind plays tricks on us is because of our thoughts and our attention that we feed it and our perceptions. Much like this woman who has a perception that all men are scum, she'll start to see things that aren't there. So it's like, it's like when somebody gets upset with their partner because they perceive them to be cheating, but they actually aren't. And the only reason they perceive them to be cheating is because they think they're cheating. So they start looking for indicators to prove themselves right. And they may not do this consciously. It might be subconsciously, because they believe that all men cheat. And so they'll be looking for indicators. Either, there's perfume on his coat, or he's got lipstick on his coat, or he's texting in secret, or he's out too long, or he doesn't come home. So then you start to try and control his behavior. And then you just go crazy trying to obsess about what's going on. You tap into his emails looking for evidence, and then you go crazy, and then you push him away. And then he ends up cheating on you because you're crazy. This is how the mind plays tricks on you. You manifest things that aren't there. And same with this story, the example that I gave in the previous video about the spiders. You can actually see things that aren't there. And so, anyway, this can happen. It does happen. And once you change your perception, this trick goes away. And they know this. They play tricks on us. Everything they do is a big magic trick. It's a big freaking illusion. So the controllers manipulate our perception using mind control and mind control tactics, including magic, including the illusion. So, like magic tricks it's not just black magic, which is real magic, but it's also this illusion that, sleight of hand, or the way that they show, like smoke and mirrors. They'll show you something and then tell you a story about it that's not true. So that's all magic tricks. It's all an illusion of, like, the magical illusion. like Disney's all about magic. So mind control, what exactly is mind control? Because people think that it's like MK Ultra, where they put electrodes on your brain or give you drugs or totally keep you out of your mind, and so that you're like a robot or something. But no, that's what they tell you in order for you to think that you're not being mind controlled, so that you're not going to look at the things that are happening in your own life that are examples of mind control. The television mind controls you, society mind controls you, education, work, advertising, every aspect of our lives today is about mind control. And if you haven't seen They Live, that will show you how they use mind control to get you to do what they want you to do. So mind control is employing any tactic to coerce, manipulate, or persuade your subject to think and behave the way you want them to, so that the subject no longer thinks for themselves. This is also narcissistic abuse, because narcissists see you as an extension of themselves. They do not see you as an independent being. They feel that they can use you and manipulate you into doing and being the kind of person that you should be for them, to serve them. And that's what this is. It's the same thing. And they see us as slaves, that we should be serving them. And so we should be following their orders. And we should be good little drones. And they want us to act like robots. They don't actually want to make us into robots. They want us to behave like robots, so that we don't have any independent thought, so that we don't rebel against the system, so that we don't think for ourselves. So one example I want to use in terms of how they use mind control tactics is Flat Earth, because make no mistake, the whole release of all the truth is a psychological operation. And what I think is going on here, and I may not be right, but what I think is going on here is that they want to, because they're pushing us into transhumanism, they want us to be like robots. I think what they want to do is learn from us how we find the truth. And I'm just feeding them the answers, as are a lot of other truthers. But what they want from us is how do we find the truths, and how do we think, and how do we behave, so that they can prevent it in the future. That's just a hypothesis, but that's what I think is going on here. Now, so they released Flat Earth on purpose, and Flat Earth is not a psychological operation. The globe is. They designed the globe as one big brainwashing system to remove us from reality. That is really what they're doing. They're not hiding God. They're not hiding more land, and they're not hiding free energy. All of that is just a distraction to stop you from realizing it's just very simple. They're using the globe to hide reality. They've put us in this land of delusion. So they've used it to hide reality, and they've used it to hide the true shape of the earth. They've used it to hide where we actually live, which is reality. So they've put us in a land of delusion, and that is what they're really hiding. So what they did was they presented us with two options to give us another illusion, another delusion. Simulation theory is where they're pushing everything. So they'll take the globe and say, oh yeah, we don't live on a globe after all. We live on a flat plane. We live on a flat earth. And here's the new model. So they provide us with all the answers. And maybe we don't have all the answers, so they leave a few little things unanswered. But they will control the narrative by explaining everything for us and providing us with a new model. But that new model is not accurate. They hide, again, the true nature of our reality. They're not showing the dielectric, magnetic, toroidal plane of inertia that we live on. They don't even talk about that. They just show us this plane with a freaking terrarium and a bubble, and then they tell us there's more land, and we don't really know what the shape of the earth is. I mean, come on. All this is fucking nonsense and game playing and a distraction. So they'll take you, guide you down a path that they want. They cover all the bases using controlled opposition. And they feed into all your fears, they feed into all of your attachments, all of your beliefs, so that they cover all the bases, and they'll try to gatekeep you so that some people will get through, but some people won't get through. They keep the truth seekers distracted with irrelevant truths or conspiracies. So once you come to flat earth, oh, that's not the only thing. Then we got aliens. That's not the only thing. Then we got more land. That's not the only thing. Then we got mud flood. That's not the only thing. Then we got mud fossils and giants and other beings. And then we got, all these other conspiracies to look at. And it's endless, and transgenders. And so one conspiracy after another, just to keep you busy, keep you distracted, keep you caught up in the material, and stop you from looking within. So then they populate the truth movement with their people to control the info. So they have all of these shills, all these shill channels that are gatekeepers. They control all the info that's disseminated. They control where you go, and control not just that, but they teach you what to think, what to say, how to behave, and what to believe. It's mind control all over again. It's mainstream television all over again. I mean, they own YouTube. These are the people who do television. It's the same thing. It's just YouTube. And so what they're doing is they're conditioning people in how to behave, what to say, what to do, and they arm you basically with these shills have an army of flying monkeys, which is what narcissists have, or trolls as you know them, and they prevent the real truth from coming out. So if a real truth comes out, they'll send their army of trolls to your channel and flock you with bombardment of negative comments and hate, and try to get your channel taken down, try to get your video taken down, or what have you. They will do that, or they'll block your channel from getting views or subscribers, and all sorts of juvenile tactics. But not only that, but they make you into one of their flying monkeys, one of their trolls. You become their defender, which a lot of people refer to as Stockholm Syndrome. So they fed you these answers, you buy into it, then you defend it if somebody challenges it, but all of this is designed to keep you from thinking for yourself. And this is we can provide you with all the answers as long as you don't think for yourself. We'll give you truth as long as you don't think for yourself. This is the answer, this is the answer, this is the answer. And so what we have to do is think for ourselves. Is this true? Does this relate? Does this tie to everything else? What's the missing piece here? What am I not getting? So don't become one of their flying monkeys. Don't become one of their trolls and start defending their bullshit. Know for yourself what's true. I mean, it's not easy, because if you see somebody who you think can be woken up and you have some piece of truth that you want to share, that's fine, you can do that. But when you start defending and being hostile and negative and antagonistic, then you're doing their job for them. So anyway, that's part of it.